Aloha, and a big mahalo for tuning in. Dave Lawrence with you, and excited because we have a returning guest, a guy who has sort of made a tradition, if you will, a new tradition in the islands. December 31st in Honolulu, January 1st on the Valley Isle of Maui. The tradition continues. Comedian, TV host, fun guy, and a returning guest. We're grateful for his time. Bill Maher is coming back, and he's on the line right now. Hey, Bill. Aloha and mahalo, brother. Thanks for doing this.
Hey, sure. Thanks so much for having me. That's a great intro. I appreciate that. Yes, it is a tradition now.
It's a growing thing. It's like a little tree that you... it's
third annual. I'm the Don Ho of New Year's Eve, I keep telling people.
I dig it. It's a lot cooler than cutting down a Christmas tree when you grow one, and that's sort of what you do every holiday season with this thing.
Well, I mean, Dave, this is the original no-brainer. If you're going to go someplace over the cold New Year's break, I mean, you would want to pick paradise, wouldn't you? I have friends there, first of all, on both islands, it's also become kind of a tradition to see, and so I bring some people with me, people who need a vacation. Mr. Michael Moore is coming with me this year. He's going to get a vacation. He never takes one. So it's just become, yes, kind of a tradition, and I'm a guy who's always railing against tradition because a lot of traditions don't make sense. We very often keep things going for no apparent reason, like farm subsidies. This is a great tradition, and I hope it goes on for many years.
Tobacco subsidies. I always, that's an interesting one.
You can't, once a government program starts, you cannot get rid of it. They once tried to get rid of mohair subsidies because we weren't using mohair anymore. Couldn't do it.
How many years down the road is it going to be before there's Pakalolo subsidies for Washington State and Colorado?
Well, that looks very good. I mean, if you asked me 5 years ago, it looked kind of bleak, but in the last couple of years, yes, we've really made great strides. For the first time, more than 50% of people think that marijuana should be legal, not just for medical reasons, but just for sitting on the couch and watching SpongeBob reasons. And that's a great sea change. And I think, as with everything in America, what you're going to see is, the money is really going to drive this, and they're already talking about putting a great deal of money into selling it legally. There's an ex-Microsoft executive who is thinking $100 million, and he's smart because this is what's coming. And they've already asked me to do one of the ads, and I think it's a pretty good ad. At the end of it, I say, hey, do you ever get that 2:30 feeling? How'd you like to have that all day long?
2:30, that's going to be the new term instead of 4:20?
Well, yeah, kind of, maybe.
It's funny what you just said when you're talking about the national sentiment, I guess, by way of the more than 50%. Oddly, you have Uruguay. Am I pronouncing that right?
Yes, Uruguay is legalizing it across the board. But,
it's strange just because you say that about the national sentiment and the 50%, generally more than 50% in American opinion polls. I was just reading about the Uruguay thing, and it's like 61% of the people actually oppose the move, and it's really just the government doing it. So it's strange that they're going all the way, yet they don't really have the popular support. And the United States is sort of putting a couple toes in the water, and there is massive support.
I didn't realize that about Uruguay. Wow. I was giving them a little too much credit for being hip.
Well, that's the beauty of it.
That's called leadership. Gosh, I wish we had a government like Uruguay's. Maybe I spoke too soon. Who knows what's going on down there? It could be a military dictatorship. As long as they're high, it's going to be a benign military dictatorship.
A stoner coup, if you will.
Yeah, stoner coup.
This is happening. When you, and away from all the serious stuff, on to the more fun and games of your life here. Any fun memories of being here last year, the year before, as you've developed this new thing that you're doing?
Oh, well, it's all good memories. If you can't have a good time there, and I'm there, obviously I do a couple of shows, but I love working, so that's not a problem. And then, it's just kicked back. Now, I'm not a guy who sits and bakes on the beach. I'm Irish. I'd kill myself if I did. But I do love to swim in the ocean. I find it so therapeutic to get out there. Last year I came almost directly from Toronto with a cold. And as soon as I got in that water, people gargle with salt water when they're home. Well, there's a big gargle right there. It's called the Pacific Ocean. And until the radiation from the Fukushima plant starts coming over there, I'm going to swim in that ocean. And I think that if you do that a couple of times a year, I really think it's a boon to your health. So I love swimming in the ocean. Of course, I love as you mentioned before, the island treats that are probably better than what you're going to get on the mainland. And some of my friends in Maui always, make sure that I'm well stocked up. And I could sit around and drink a Mai Tai in the shade, and it's just nice once a year not to have anything, not to have to check emails, and there's just always so much going on when you get back to the real world, and I think that's the key. It doesn't seem like the real world.
Just don't go swimming in the Alawai when you're here, the canals.
Why?
Stay out of the canal. So they got signs that say don't eat the fish. Don't.
Right.
So I'm thinking if you can't eat the fish, you probably shouldn't be in there. But,
Right.
I could just be looking out for you a little too much. What can I say? It's the Jewish grandmother in me.
Yeah. Thanks, Dave.
You're welcome, my brother.